Thanks everyone for coming for the. Thanks everyone for joining us for the inaugural BYM retreat. I'm very, very excited to hear how everything's been progressing over the last few weeks, and finally, yesterday with you all coming in. I'm sure you're having a great time, and unfortunately, I'm not able to be there with you all, but I look forward to hearing and seeing all the photos and stories that come from this weekend. I wanted to give a short message while I could make the time work, given I couldn't come and spend time with you all there. I'll keep it brief, but I think what came to my mind was this idea of taking these few days to be with yourself and to be with each other is such an important part of our own personal journeys. And this inaugural BYM retreat, I know, is going to multiply and multiply with all of your efforts and all of your commitment and love for each other into something very, very big. So, my message for each of us today is to spend the time that you have over these 3 days really trying to reset and think about what are each of those personal lessons and learnings that we want to focus on. Because as much as we meditate and we read books and we do all those things, the point of meditation or the point of spirituality isn't just to sit and meditate in your house. It's not to just spend a weekend here, as lovely as this weekend is, but it's to spend that time learning about yourself, your truest self, so you can make the other 364 days in the year happier, more loving, more purposeful. When we spend that time meditating, when we spend that time talking to each other about spirituality, when we spend that time, always try and bring that back into those day-to-day moments when it's hardest to remember, when you're on the job, when you're at school, when you're in a very high stress environment. Those are the time it's hardest to remember those lessons that we're spending the time over this weekend and other points in our life learning. But those are the points where we want to actually apply that. So as you're spending time here this weekend, it's impossible to bring everything into one go, but try and think of 2 or 3 things that you want to improve in the next year and how you live your life in a more happy, more purposeful way. The second part of that I've really found quite interesting over the last decade is this journey to realize your truest self, is this balance I always talk about between surrender and manifesting. So on one hand, the more we realize our truest self, the more we realize we are part of this universal consciousness that is everywhere. And the desire to fight this battle, desire to think that we're stuck, slowly starts moving away when you realize that you created all of this. So you're not a victim here in somebody else's narrative. You are living the most perfect life you could possibly imagine, whether or not you see it in this moment. And that process of not having, even though you can't see the big picture right now, trusting in yourself, in your truest self, that everything is happening for a reason, that something in this moment you're learning and it will make you a more fulfilled, a more aware soul. That is the process of surrender. The process of just allowing yourself to go with the current and just see and trust where will life take you. You know, in this moment, you might not be able to connect all the dots. You might not be able to see, how is this path actually helping me? Maybe this job is not what I want to do. Maybe I didn't get those test scores that I wanted to get. But realizing still you haven't swayed off the path, just allow yourself to be open to new experiences. Allow yourself to be open to meeting new people, to seeing where life takes you will open up more doors than you consciously could ever try and create yourself. That to me is the process of surrender. At the same time, you can only truly surrender, I believe, from a place of holistic strength. And that is realizing that you are this unlimited being. That you, if you really want, can manifest anything you choose. And practicing that and realizing that is also an equally important part of living a holistic life, because we're not just here to go sit in a cave and be away from the Maya and be away from the day-to-day life. We came and chose to live here so we could experience all that life has to offer. And part of that is allowing yourself to realize that you are a holistic, godly being. And the more you apply yourself and the more you manifest, you literally can bring anything in your life that you want. And these two ideas I just put are quite paradoxical, though, at the same time, because on one hand, we have this idea that you should practice experiencing what that looks like. And on the other hand, I'm saying just let go and allow life to take you where it does. And these two concepts, Masters, is something I want you both to explore as you go through this spiritual journey of you need to learn to both take control sometimes and see what it looks like to be in the driver's seat of your own life. And the more you do that, and the more you realize that you can actually manifest almost anything you want, the more you'll realize that your limited consciousness can only see so far. And the beauty and pleasure in surrendering and allowing the universe to show you a path will be far more fulfilling, because you're not surrendering from a place of weakness. You're not surrendering from a place of, I have no other option. You're surrendering because you know you could do whatever you want, but you want to see what beauty and what magic the universe has in store for you. And that, Masters, is my main takeaway as you spend this weekend here, as you spend your time meditating, as you spend your time reading and talking and everything. Think about how you want to explore in your own lives that duality of practicing to surrender and practicing to manifest and see the holistic universal consciousness within you. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely inaugural BYM retreat.
Nikhil, that was, can you hear me, Nikhil? Yeah. So that was really a good message this morning for us to ponder upon, that we can manifest anything we want, and knowing that, having the power of surrender. So that really keeps you in control, or you feel you are in charge.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Nikhil, this morning for such a great message. But I'm going to just go around. If anyone has any questions or someone has anything for you to elaborate, Masters, feel free. Any comment, any feedback. He put forward a big sentence saying, you are capable of doing everything. You can get anything in your life. But knowing that, now you surrender. Is it that easy, Masters? Surrender, how easy it is, how difficult it is. No one else but BYM Masters can tell. Because the motto of BYM, now, one of the four, as Navina always says, one of the main 4 pillars, Navina says, is surrender. And we have done almost PhD in surrender. That's what I think. We have talked about surrender so much. I don't think any platform discusses surrender to this extent. So with that, I would really welcome, if any questions. I mean, it's easy to give one statement there being in Boston. But, sorry, Nikhil, but I have to say this. But how do we feel really? Do we feel that we are in a state to surrender, or we still feel that we are so helpless? What are we surrendering to? Masters, anyone, any feedback, any comment? This is the time when we are physically facing each other. We talk so much on Zoom, right? Any language, ఏ భాష అయినా పర్వాలేదు. ఇక్కడ ఏం చెప్తున్నాడంటే, మనకు అన్ని చేత అవుతాయి. మనమే దేవుళ్ళం అని తెలిసి కూడా మనం సమర్పణ మోడ్లో ఉండాలి. ఎందుకంటే ఈ భౌతిక దశలో మనకి తెలియని ఎన్నో విషయాలు ఉన్నాయి. ఆ సమర్పణ దశలో అవన్నీ మనకు వస్తాయి. సో ఇక్కడ 2 విషయాలు చెప్తున్నాడు. ఒకటి, నీకు కావాల్సింది నువ్వు తెచ్చుకోగలవు జీవితంలో. రెండోది, అయినప్పటికీ సమర్పణలో ఉండు. 2 totally opposite, Masters. And that is the complication of spirituality and physicality. Knowing that if I can get everything, why should I surrender? I will grab everything in my life. But the question is, do we know everything? What is that everything? I think that's where the whole question of everything. Everything is only a small circle in physicality. But when we start surrendering to that beautiful consciousness, that everything definition changes. That is my take of what today's message. Amma, Lavanya, anything from your side, Nana? Your feedback, your comment, just let's pass it around.
Thank you, Nikhil. It was really a wonderful thought for the day. Can you just elaborate more on, like, give us an example where you have implemented this in your life, both like manifesting and then you're surrendering it as well in a surrender mode. So it will help us connect more. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh my God. I think a big clap for this question. I could have never thought about it. Well done, Lavanya. This is BYM Masters. All right, Nikhil, go for it. Okay, let me say this question to everybody. Telugulo kuda okkasari cheptanu. Lavanya amma manchi gatti debba kottindi. ఇంత చెప్తున్నావు కదా ఒక్క ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్పు నీ లైఫ్ లో నువ్వు ఈ రెండు తెలిసి ఏం చేసావు అని. No, Nikhil, only on the lighter side, but amazing question, right? Okay, go for it.
So I'll give you a very, very practical example. The challenge with spirituality is so many people use spirituality as an excuse not to live in the real world. They will say, I'm just surrendering. So I use it in a very extreme sense, but when people run off to the caves or people say, I don't care about having family, I don't care about getting a job, I don't care about doing any of these things. Part of living in this world is living in this world. So it is doing the materialistic things. It's making sure you don't get lost in it. But in order to do the materialistic things that exist in the world, you need to have some kind of intention. So very specifically, to answer your question, getting a job is a perfect example. If you surrender all the time, it's easy to say, I'm going to sit at home and I'm not going to put any effort in. And if a job comes to me, a job will come to me. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's not truly surrendering, in my opinion, because very much so, if in order for the universe to work in any way, you have to put some effort in. And putting that effort in is both physically and mentally manifesting. So if, for example, in a job situation, you can manifest that you want a specific job. You'll put all the effort in physically, mentally, through meditation, of creating that reality for you to manifest that particular job. Now, after doing this for 6 months, maybe you get that job, and then within 2 weeks of having that job, you get fired from that job. Or maybe fired is too extreme an example, or maybe you don't get that job and you get a different job. Now, at this point, one thing you can do is sit there and keep being frustrated at the fact that, why did this happen? Is my manifestation weak? I put all this thought and I tried to create this to happen, and now I didn't get the job that I wanted, or I got a different job, or maybe I got that job and I got kicked out of it. That is the point where I think surrender comes in as well, which is you have put all your 100% effort to do something, yet the universe is taking you into a different route. So at this point, you can ask yourself, do I want to try and go back and get that first option? Which is perfectly fine. If you really want to make that job come back, go for it. But what I often do is I'll pause and ask myself, maybe this new thing that is happening is beyond what I originally thought. Maybe this is the universe showing me a path I didn't even think about. I only saw job A. I thought that was the only way to achieve my goals and my happiness. And out of nowhere, I think I don't want job B. But maybe if I take job B, it's going to go very differently. And I'm saying this not hypothetically, from my own specific example. A few years ago, I was going into one team, and I ended up getting a job in a very different team, which everybody else was like, oh, this is a great job. But for me, it wasn't the one that I wanted. I wanted a job in a very different team. And me being me, I was like, I can either fight this and go back and get the other job, or I can just see what this is like for a few months. And when I actually surrendered to that opportunity, it turned out to be the most fulfilling professional environment I've ever worked in. Even to this day, I left that job for various reasons. I still look back and I go, that was the happiest, best supportive team that I ever worked in. The most fulfilling professional experiences that I got to have. And if I didn't allow myself to surrender and just see what this new path was showing me, A, I wouldn't have had that experience. And B, all the different opportunities that came from there, I wouldn't have been able to go to. I would have been stuck in my vision of what I thought the world was. And my life would be very different. It may also be nice, but it may be very, very different. Even today here, the fact that I'm here at Harvard Business School is a result of the fact that I allowed myself to just surrender to the opportunity that the universe gave me. That then led to a new opportunity and a new connection and a connection after that, which is something that no matter how long I meditated for, I never would have even been able to imagine that those opportunities would come. It's one small example from my life.
Thank you, Nikhil.
We are here. Such a wonderful explanation you are given for Lavanya's question. Even it was, coming in my mind as well. Recently, ma'am has given me the surrender book. After reading that, oh my God, Michael Singer's the experiments which he has done around surrendering, amazing. Now, my whole perspective about surrendering has completely changed after understanding about Michael Singer's experiment. Actually, it was going in my mind as well. Sometimes the situations and the people come in our life to shaken up, to teach us to, something. In that moment, how do we take on, like, how do we surrendering? Generally, our mind chatters like, why are you here? Like, why did this situation come to you? Our mind shaken up, right? So how do we go about it in that situations?
Did you get the question? Was it audible?
Yes, it was in those situations where you have these crossroads, you're shaken up. How do you deal with it? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest challenge. You're still fixated on this goal that you have. And the truth is, there's no right answer of should you keep pushing against the current and trying to manifest the original plan that you had, or should you just relax and try and take this new path? And the point is, there's no wrong choice. If you want to keep pushing against the current and manifesting, that's perfectly fine. If you also want to try this new thing, also fine. And that's the issue, is there's no rule here. It's all about what you think is right for you. The lesson that I live by is just make sure that you're not making the present miserable for you. What I mean by that is some people start manifesting and they get so attached to the idea that they are manifesting that it ruins the present happiness that they have. So just remember this. The whole point of spirituality is to realize you are not this. If you are not this, then you're also not your job. And the process of manifesting is realizing that you are everything, so you can manifest whatever realities you want. Don't get attached to that reality, because even that reality that you manifest is going to be temporary. So when you manifest something, if you are now getting so attached to this idea, and the fact that, let's take a job, for example, you want this job, and you are now getting so miserable to every single day waking up thinking, I wish I was, I wish I was a doctor, but I'm not a doctor. I wish I was a doctor, but I'm not a doctor. Then that is a sign from the universe that it's time to surrender, because you are now presently miserable and unhappy. And the universe is telling you, let go of that. If you let go of that, you will be happy. On the other hand, I know many people, and I will consider myself one of those people, who will have these goals. For example, let's take the same thing. It will be like, I wish I became a doctor, right? If that is your goal, then keep working for it. Because even if you're not there today, the journey of working towards that goal is so happy, is so fulfilling, and it fills you with energy. So even if you're not surrendering that goal, you're actually enjoying the process of working towards it. See, there's two different perspectives. If the process of working towards that goal, the process of manifesting is no longer something that is bringing you happiness and pleasure, then I think it is a time and a sign from the universe that you should be letting go, and you're closing your eyes off to something else that is presently available to you that can give you that happiness and that peace today. Because the process of manifesting is not meant to be a miserable one. It's a process of realizing how unlimited and how beautiful the universe is. So the moment that becomes frustrating and the moment that becomes resentful, that to me is a sign you need to let go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you so much.
అందులోనే ఇందులో వస్తుంది ఎందుకో మరి. Yeah, I can just pass this around if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Nikhil, we were just trying to think about the logistics of this camera. But yeah, Leela madam is talking, so I'll give it to her. Aman.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful explanation.
Hi, Nikhil sir. Good morning. For us, it's good morning, I think. That whatever you said, it's exactly happened in my life. I know when you're saying also tears are coming in my eyes. Exactly. So you said like job A, job B. Same happened to me. Even I asked Saroja ma'am also when I'm choosing that job A, which is not. But I felt that was the divine opportunity, and I felt that it's a excellent, and I'm enjoying that one. But still, I have that whatever is the manifest, whatever the goal, I have that feeling inside. So then I choose and I surrender. But what the plan B job, whatever I thinking, but I cut that attachment. I want to that. I want that. I surrender at that situation. So whatever having the fears and everything in me, it's all cleared when I'm cutting that one. So I surrender at that time, and then I tried the job B. Then I got that one. So whatever that Saroja ma'am learnings and everything, and applied in my life, and now I'm like a when I'm choosing the job B, and that time I have so many questions, like so we are entered into spirituality, and why we are thinking about that desires and everything and the money and those things. We think in that angle, like but I surrender, and all the questions whatever I am having, I surrender. Okay, let it go. Then I start working on that, accepting the things and working on the job B. Then I realized that when I'm getting that job B, whatever I'm having, I'm manifesting, I want to manifest that one. My life completely changed. I got like I improved everything, whatever the self-confidence and the working with that my surroundings and everything, even my family and everything, whatever is happening, I changed completely because of that. Inside whatever I'm having, the blockages and everything, it's all gone because of that. So that whatever you said today, I related a lot. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy to hear from you. Thank you for sharing.
They just put that bucket for another later. I think. Yeah, Nikhil, could you hear what Navina madam said? I have to say my 2 cents worth. Amazing. Actually, both I didn't have a chance to really finish my comment on Leela's. I was so glad the way Leela asked this question and the reply. That's so true. The surrender thing, when do? We don't have to surrender all the time because we don't need it. But at least when we are feeling miserable, I really like that the way we ended the question. And moving on to Navina madam, I know how hard she has worked on surrender. I've seen her through every stage in life. I can't find anyone. If I had to give an example for surrender, I know each one of you, but because I hear to her all the time, see her all the time, everything she's saying today, all this Lavanya, Leela, Navina, they mean it. This is exactly practically, they're not reading a book and telling. This is from their life. I'm so happy that we are talking about surrender today, which our masters love talking. Navina, thank you so much, Amma. And Leela, thank you so much for taking this discussion forward. I'm really so happy.
Hello, Nikhil sir. Thank you. Good. How are you, sir? Great to see your energies in this platform and particularly this retreat. I know how many times Saroja ma'am told about your dream of we all getting together globally, and you being part this morning is really great. It means a lot. To that discussion, when Navina was telling, really I remember about both options. She set up a meeting with Saroja ma'am. She asked for suggestion, and ma'am told, you have a desire, why don't you work on B? Then she told, no ma'am, I want A because it's my divine opportunity, and she went with that. Then I was thinking, why did she set up this meeting and ask for suggestion? But really, like say 1 year or so, she worked in it. She got all the experience, like what she need to experience there, and how she told us she cut that attachment to the bee, and then she got into that bee and she's enjoying. Really gives that thing, and your discussion opened up so many things in my life, because so many times I try to manifest in the sense I think of getting that, and then once I get into that, I keep on thinking, why did I get here? Like say, for example, one is I try to manifest to come to Melbourne, Australia. I came here with family, and then I started repenting. Why did I came here? Why did I leave all the family in India? And I keep on thinking about that. Only I came into this holistic knowledge with Sarojam, and then I stopped thinking about like whatever is happening is for our best. Like how you told that big picture we don't know at the moment, and another great example is this retreat itself. When we started to scouting for an location, oh, so much drama happened between us. I know Saroja ma'am, Navya ma'am, everyone was there, all the organizers. So somehow this Portsea location was not in our list. We went everywhere. So many things happened, so many cancellations. We thought, oh, this is our location, and then something changes, and then we come back, and now we are sitting here and discussing amazing location, great energies.
Very great.
Really, so we all manifested to be here, but the location itself, we don't know. It's in the hands of universe, I felt, because, and it didn't give us, okay, take it, okay, but it, so many challenges were thrown to us to reach here. So I feel like when you are giving the message, this surrender and manifestation is like a cricket match. We are batting, and then the ball comes from the universe. Try this ball, we'll see how it happens. Sometimes it's just very easy. We get sixer, and we get so much confidence that next ball we are just out because we have so much overconfidence about what we are very successful. Like so many lessons.
You know, you actually mentioned something very, very important, which is the better you get at manifesting, the
Yes.
better you are, the better you get at surrendering, the better you are at manifesting. And that's, I think, the spiritual superpower. That when you, like in business or in a job or any other situation, most people are very bad at failure. When, you know, for cricket, for example, if you get bowled out, mentally you'll be scared next time to try again. But when you can surrender, when you're able to let go and not care about the outcome, you can come back and manifest time and time after again, stronger and stronger, because everybody else will be afraid. They'll be scared. And that is, I think, the real model that all BYM masters should replicate. People think because we meditate or because we practice spirituality, somehow our lives are amazing. And that's not true. We all face challenges. We all face struggles. The difference is how we respond to those challenges. And we, as we're all sort of discussing today, should be living examples of everybody faces challenges, but you can face them in two very different ways. And how we choose to face them, I think, is the best living example we can give to other people.
That's wonderful discussion. Masters, anyone else has anything to add, or Jyoti madam?
Nikhil, it was really a great morning for us to start with such beautiful topics, surrender and manifest. Sometimes I feel that surrender and manifestation, they both are contradicting and also they go in hand today. But when we know the power of both surrender and manifestation, which one do you choose? I mean, how do you choose wisely? Whether shall I surrender for the situation or shall I manifest? When we know the power of both the things. I know I can manifest. I know even if I surrender, I'm going to get it. So how do we choose wisely? Not choose wisely, but what is the best way to go based on the situation? And how do you go?
Yeah, very, very great question. My answer to this, I'm not sure if you'll like it or not, but my answer to this is it honestly is just whatever you want. And let me explain what I mean by that. So we have desires. Desires are natural. Being in this materialistic body, right? House, nice car, nice school for your children, whatever it is, you have desires. So if you have desires, it's not bad having desires. Like desires are natural. And by experiencing those desires, you will eventually not care about those. Like if you buy a nice car, you're like, okay, I've had a nice car. I don't need a nice car anymore. Right? Like the process of experiencing is what helps you let go of desires in many cases. So if you have desires, by all means, go and manifest those. But some things in life you just don't care about, right? So you don't have to like, am I going to put my left foot out of the door first or the right foot out of my door first? I don't really care. I don't need to sit there thinking about it too much. So to the extent you have strong desires, allow yourself to experience those. And you'll only be able to allow yourself to experience those by actually trying to manifest. But like I said before, the way I approach my life, and you can take what you like from this, the way I approach my life is I'll manifest as much as I can because I enjoy the process of manifesting. I find it quite fun. And if I find myself at any point getting frustrated and resentful, that's a wake-up call to me going, I'm taking something too far. And what you'll realize in all of spirituality, it comes back to moderation in every single situation. Saying always surrender is bad and always manifest is just as bad. So if you find yourself going too far this way in manifestation, where you're now getting frustrated and unhappy and miserable, the universe is telling you, come back to the middle. At the same time, if you are putting no intention out and you have no desires, then what's the point of living? Right? We are here to live and to enjoy life and experience and watch nice movies and do other things. So to live in the real world, you need some degree of manifestation. But that balance, my litmus test, like I just said before, is how happy are you right now? If your happiness is being compromised, then you've lost that balance somewhere.
Well, okay. I think there's a lot of takeaway for me as well in this one. Thank you, Puna. Jyoti, that was amazing question. I'm glad you asked that because that's true. How much do we push on either sides? But I like the answer too. It's for each one of us to see how patient we are, this side or that side. And bottom line is, I think we all come to the bottom line that if it's really frustrating, I think that's high time to surrender. That was where Leela Madam's question came to. Thank you, Jyoti. That question really started a very good discussion. Thank you, Nikhil. I really enjoyed that question as well as answer. That try both. Otherwise, what's the point of life? Yeah, only
Maji,
also to make you bored.
Maji, I wanted to actually say one more on that. The best way I think about life, imagine life is a big board game, Catan or Monopoly or whatever it is. If you're playing the game and you don't care about winning, then there's no point of playing. But if you're playing the game to a point, you're now getting frustrated and angry, then you've ruined the fun of the game and it's time to let go of the outcome a little bit. So very much so, it's finding that balance between have some intention. You're here, you want to live the life, put some desire, otherwise there's no fun in life. But don't lose the bigger perspective of why are we here? Because the truth is, if we go back to job A or job B, honestly, neither matters. Whether you take job B or you take job A, your life will still work out great. The choice is almost an illusion. But that's the beauty of choice. Because there's a famous quote somewhere that says, the only thing that differentiates humans from a rock or a tiger is that we have the ability to choose what happens to us in our life. And that is a beautiful choice. That is a beautiful part of life. So I think it's the surrender is caring less about the outcome and more allowing yourself to enjoy the game in which we are living our lives.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikhil. And that's what we suck at, isn't it? Taking a board game, Qatar. If you don't really put your interest into it completely, then we have lost it anyway. And if we put too much and we lose it, still we have lost it. So I think somewhere in between. Jyoti madam, amazing question, honestly. Thank you, both of you. It is. So well said. That 5 months. Yeah, sure, Jyoti madam, your responsibility. Anyone else? Nandini madam, would you like to? Oh, sorry, there's somebody raising hand. Sorry, I didn't see that.
Hello, hi Nikhil. I don't know if it is good evening or good afternoon, but everything for you. Basically, I just wanted to share an experience of surrender that happened very recently in my life and which I learned through you, ma'am. And I was listening all Sita and everything. Basically, everyone knows here that my son had a very bad accident while the whole family was here, and my son only was in Hyderabad in India. So when I got to know at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was like really worried. But then suddenly I remembered, like, why am I really worrying? And then I just told one thing to the universe, that you gave that accident to him, so you take care of it. I'm not the person to take care of it, because until I go there, it's all his friends who are taking care of him. But I thought, like, that's how the universe has helped him. And I really learned that surrender is the only way where you will have a peaceful mind. So that is how I learned. And everything that has happened in my life has happened only when I completely surrendered. And I manifested whatever I wanted only when I surrendered, without even realizing, ma'am. And when I started listening to a lot of your videos, that's when I went and did a retrospection. And then I understood, like, okay, that is what I was doing without even knowing. But thank you, ma'am. I think, like, Sita Ainam has really helped me a lot, especially during my most toughest time in my life. And thank you. And thanks, Nikhil. I didn't want to have any questions, but I just wanted to share this.
That's very happy to hear.
Because, like, I remember this shaking up of life when Leela ma'am has asked about this. So I thought, like, that was the shaking moment for my life. So yeah, thank you.
A wonderful example, Amma. I know what you have just been through, and we have got a smiling lady there. See, that's how amazing life is, how it turns upside down in no time. It's wonderful.
Anybody want to ask?
Sir, over there, and then Nandini madam is one. Okay.
Hello, Nikhil. I'm really enjoying this retreat. I think which you manifested with your mom. Really enjoying, and I admire your spiritual knowledge also. Your good answers and everything. It's really good. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hi, Nikhil. Sorry, down here. I mean, that was very powerful for me, what you said. It sounds easy, but do you have any tips and tricks on how to do it? Because your mind is, when you want something, your mind tells you it's really hard to do it. But when you don't, it kind of drags you down there. what you earlier said was surrender to the situation, but I find it really difficult to do it. I don't know how to. I just keep stressing about it. So would you have any practical tips or an easy way of doing it?
Great question. Answer, like everything in life, is practice. The reason I said it right at the start, it's important to practice both manifesting and practice surrendering, is each of those are almost skills that you have to develop independently. I give you this example of, if you have never manifested anything in your life, then the first time you try and manifest anything, you don't really think it's going to happen. You have so much self-doubt that, like, it could be something as simple as, I hope I get 100% on a test. It might be, I want this job. It might be, I want $1 million or a house, whatever it is. If you have never done it before, you don't believe your own capability. On the other extreme, if you look at successful people in business, in sport, people who have a history of winning, they know whatever goal they set next, they don't hope it's going to happen. They know it's going to happen, because every time they've set a goal in the past, they've done it. So it becomes easier and easier to raise that next goal, because they have a history that they keep telling themselves, I know anything I manifest, I can do. And that is why manifesting is so important. Even if you don't do it all the time, it is important to learn about your truest self, to do it and see it. And the more you do it and see it, the more you realize you can actually bring anything, like literally anything you want, you can make it happen if you want it enough. The if you want it enough is something that you realize you actually don't care about things as much as you think you do. Like right now, you might think you want, $10 million. But as you go through life, you realize actually $10 million I don't need. I probably am fine with $1 million and a nice family and a small car. So your priorities change, but you still know that if I wanted to get $10 million, I could do it. Just like that, on the other side, surrender is a skill that needs to happen. So the stress and anxiety that you talk about is very common, because, like, if you've never let go, it's hard to just believe that if you surrender, things will find their way. And this is where I'd say sometimes people surrender because they have no option, right? If you're surrendering because you have no choice left and you don't believe in yourself, that's not surrendering. That's just giving up. So surrendering is not giving up. Surrendering is knowing you have another choice, but still thinking, let me just try this. And that stress that you feel reduces the more you practice it and the more you know about yourself. So for me specifically, the connection to the universal consciousness, the realization that I am not this, that I am all of this, that I'm everything, that constantly reminding me when I get lost and I get very focused on the materialistic, stepping back and reminding myself, why am I worrying about this small thing, right? It might be somebody took $5,000 from me and I'd be like, oh, how am I going to get that money back, etc. I can ruin my present thinking about that, or I can step back and go, what is this in the big scheme of things? And who am I? And what is my purpose? And trusting that whatever I need will come back to me in some other form. That doesn't happen just once. It happens because you do it once and you surrender and you observe what happens. And then next time you do it again. And somebody was talking about the surrender experiment. Beautiful book. Seeing people's experiences and having that happen time and time again reinforces in your mind what that feels like. So the only way you get better at doing it is by starting to do it. Start surrendering, start manifesting, and see what the results look like. And then you will get easier and easier at doing that. And obviously, like everything, meditation is our ultimate tool. Because if you ask, why are you getting stressed? You're worrying about something that hasn't yet happened. You're holding on to this outcome because you think, if I don't have this, then I'm not going to have something else. And then this will happen bad and that will happen bad. And you're panicking and worrying about things that haven't happened yet. So the combination of realizing that you are more than this and practicing meditation so you can stop worrying about things that haven't happened yet and bring yourself into right now, is my life going to end if I don't get this? No. So then it's okay. Let it go. Start doing it. It will feel uncomfortable, but doing it over and over again is what makes it easier. I see this even here, for example, this is not here as in at the business school that I'm at. I see people who are quite successful financially, but are so scared of letting go because to them, if anything happens that's not in their plan, it feels like their whole world is falling apart. On the other hand, you have people with no money, no success, who are so much happier and able to deal with stuff. And the only difference is they have practiced surrendering more. So unfortunately, there's no easy answer to this, but the truth is it's practice. Just keep practicing and it gets easier and easier over time.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm
I'll have
glad
to
you.
leave it there.
Yes. And Nikhil, before we finish this, Nikhil, before we finish this, I'm glad you said there is no easy answer. If you would have said there is an easy answer, I would have gone into thinking mode myself, because surrender is not easy. And madam, you nailed it so well in that question. It is practice. Even today, after taking multiple sessions on surrender, let me be very honest, every minute I have to remind myself, it doesn't come naturally. It may come naturally one day in one life, I'm sure, but I will be lying if I say surrender is my natural mode. No, I have to consciously remind myself that this is the best mode, because I've tried the other mode all my life. And now I'm trying to balance, tipping on the other side. But amazing question. And thank you, Nikhil. That was such an enlightening session. And we really enjoyed your presence, Nikhil. Though you're not physically here, we felt like you were here. Your energies were here. And I know how much you love BYM and how much you wanted to be in this retreat physically. Thank you so much. And on your behalf, I'm again thanking all the organizers, all the participants, and of course you and your time, Nikhil. I'll give it to Purna, sir. And then he can.
Hello, Nikhil. How are you doing? I hope
Good,
you're
thanks.
having a time. And adding to Harita madam's question about choices, like they will just recently started to read a book. I'm trying to recollect the name of the book, but I can't. But first, I just read the first page only. Then I got the very quite retrospection about mind, saying if I want to do that one, it will take both sides and talking both sides. Like I want this one. If you do this one, you are going to fail. If I do this one, I'm going to win. It will take both the sides of the topic, whatever it is, irrespective of the small, big, whatever, doesn't matter the size of the manifestation or whatever. We are not going to manifest. Even taking choices, like if I want to, in the earlier speech, you told taking the right leg first or left leg first. Even for that choice, also our mind start to take both the sides. I want to take right, I want to take left, or I want to jump. It will keep on keeping us in that loop of uncertainty and fear. These kind of emotions will play when we are making those choices, and the mind will play that beautiful movie. It keeps on doing that every time. So for that, meditation will always help when we practice for a certain amount of time in the day. But when we are in a daily life, when we are working or meeting people, how can we come out of that loop? That question is not only for me, for everyone, because that's the loop everybody is going through in every second of their life, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, you stay with it because none of this matters. Like I genuinely think the analogy of the board game is the best analogy for life. whether you choose choice A or you choose choice B and you get to a better outcome, like in a board game, if you win the game, it makes no difference. It's fun. That's it. It makes you feel better. It's the same thing in my view of life choices. In the big scheme of things, where you end up from a spiritual perspective, you are no different. It just gives you a different experience. So as long as you're enjoying this, and I'm somebody who I love calculating. I like playing chess in my head. I like analyzing all the different options. And if I do this, what will happen? And if I do this, then they'll do that. And if they do this, I'll do this. And if they do this, and I'll put this big web in my head because I enjoy that process. I have so much fun thinking through those things. I know other people hate it. Like that stresses them out. And the answer is, as I said earlier, if you're not enjoying it, it doesn't matter. Just make a choice and move on. If you're enjoying it like me, then keep thinking through those options because the process of making that choice is fun. And if it's not fun, then as you talked about earlier, the end outcome is not going to make a difference anyway. Honestly, like there's no decision in life that is that big that is going to change your outcome dramatically. Ultimately, you will find a way to make things happen the way that you want them to happen. So use your happiness as an indicator.
Yeah.
With
thank
that,
you for
I'll have to leave all you guys, but I hope
thank
you have a wonderful rest of the retreat and look forward to hearing all of the rest of the stories on the inaugural BYM retreat. So thanks to all the BYM family and the rest of the volunteers who helped make this happen.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, Nikhil. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you for being here today. Though you're far away, I still feel you are between us. And I know how much your energies are always connected to BYM and your well wishes. And on the behalf of BYM and all our masters here, we thank you and we wish you all the best. Thank you, Amma. Thank you. And most importantly, all our masters here, this discussion was only interesting because you asked the right question. Otherwise, sitting there and giving a statement, that is not discussion. Each one of you, and Lavanya madam, that was a great stirring up question, and you really made everyone think. And every master who is present here, and you have just left for cooking and our breakfast thing. Thank you all. This morning meditation, I don't know about you, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I'm looking forward to having more discussions with you, more meditation session. And thank you very much, Nikhil. If you're still there, bye, Nana. Have a good day. Bye. And masters, with that, I think I will hand it over to our organizer, Lavanya madam.
Thank you, madam. So next will be our yoga session. So we can take a 5 minutes break. If you want to use the restrooms, then come back here and we can start the yoga for